Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you stopping by. This video is going to be about my fairly new variegated Aeschynanthus plant, which is the variegated lipstick plant. I showed the regular lipstick plant, I think it was a Mona Lisa, in a prior video, but this one started out really small, and I was kind of upset because when it came in, the leaves were mostly non-variegated, but giving it some nice bright light. You can see the new growth here has nice variegation. Look at that. It's like a yellow variegation, not necessarily a white. And it just keeps going and going and going and going. And there's another branch over there. This plant is loving life, and I really love, just like Hoyas. Well, actually, it's a little different than Hoya because you could see the root nubs right there at each node. Hoyas have roots growing all over the place, like on any part of the stem. But there is something very similar about this. I mean, aside from, to Hoyas, aside from this being an epiphyte, like Hoyas are, where they grow up in trees, between branches and things like that, lipstick plants, Aeschynanthus plants do as well. It's very, very, very cool. Very interesting. I love epiphytes. I love plants that grow up in trees in tropical areas because they're, in my mind, at least in my experience, they are easier to care for in a lot of ways because they don't mind drying out. Just like orchids, they don't have to be constantly hydrated for the most part. Of course, there are exceptions to everything. But this is very similar to a Hoya, in not just in its growth habit, but also in the look of it. This looks like a, I don't know, Lacanosa or some type of Hoya, but it's not. It is Aeschynanthus. I believe this also will have red flowers. They're tubular flowers that grow, and when they start to bud, they look like lipstick coming out of the tube. That's why it's called lipstick plant as a nickname, or the common name. But I just think this is really, really cool. If you want a fast-growing plant that its growth resembles a Hoya and that trails, and in this example has variegation, definitely I say give Aeschynanthus or lipstick plant a shot. I have a few different varieties of these. This is the second one that I've shown you so far, and I will do videos on the other ones, but very, very easy to care for. Chunky mix, because these are epiphytes, just like Hoyas and other aroids that are epiphytes, epiphytic, also orchids. They like a chunky, airy mix. So this one has a lot of perlite. It has some pine bark in it, and it dries very quickly. So what I've been doing is, in order to get some fast growth, I have it in a south-facing window, but it doesn't get any direct sun on the leaves at all, but it's a very bright light. So I have it there, and I water it every couple of days because the soil dries out pretty quickly, and that wet dry cycle plus the bright light has created this incredible growth, this growth spurt in the last couple of weeks. Now, one thing that I noticed is kind of interesting is the plant is growing away from the light. Usually you have plants growing towards the light because they want to get more light. This plant has been growing, both of the new branches and actually the third one back here too. The light comes from this direction, and it's growing away from the light. I've never seen this before, especially in an epiphytic plant. Hoyas usually grow towards the light, and a lot of times orchids, their roots grow away from the light, but the actual plant grows towards the light. Very unusual. I don't know why this is happening. I'm going to have to do some research and see if there is any documentation on that, but all three growth points of this plant, actually four, there's a fourth one right there, that little one, they are growing away from the light. I find that very unusual. But if I figure that out, I will let you know. Oh, here's another one. This one here is also, this one may be growing towards the light. I'm not sure. But anyway, Aeschynanthus species, variegated, beautiful leaves, very, very, very easy to take care of. Propagation. You can propagate obviously from stem cuttings because at each node there are little root bumps. I don't have any aerial roots on any of this right now, but I'm sure that they do grow aerial roots in the wild because those roots attach to the trees and the shrubs and wherever it is they're growing on, rocks. but this one doesn't have any aerial roots yet. But you can propagate by stem cutting, you can grow those roots out. And I've also propagated lipstick plants, Aeschynanthus, with leaf cuttings. These are in the same family as African violets. So if any of you know or are familiar with African violet propagation, you know that you could propagate African violets from a leaf cutting. Well, same thing with Aeschynanthus. The leaves root and grow new plants. Right now I have some, actually over here, I think I showed these in a prior video. These leaves I put in my acrylic, of course, and the leaves rooted, and I think you can see there's a little sprout growing, a little plant in that one. Let me see if there's another one. I don't necessarily see growth, but I do have root formation because these plants have been, or these leaves have been in this acrylic for weeks. So they haven't died, and I do see some. If you look closely and pull apart some of the yarn, you can see that there is some root growth in there, and one of them looks like it even has a new growth point of a stem. So very exciting, very easy to grow, beautiful. And when these bloom, if it's in a happy place with nice bright light and it's getting enough water, the blooms are just beautiful. Like they're really clusters of red or pink or orange flowers. They're tubular flowers, really, really pretty. And they can bloom on and off all year. I had mine, my other one bloom recently. It finished blooming and I kind of moved it because I had to focus on some other plants, primarily my begonias, because that's always number one in my book. But when I bring it back to where it was, I'm sure I'll get some more blooms. I had two different clusters of blooms on the last one. Anyway, hopefully soon I'll get some flowers on this as well. And yeah, if you have any questions about lipstick plant, Aeschynanthus species of plants, just reach out as usual. And if you have not already, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. And I will see you in the next video.